Hey everybody, welcome back once again to another episode of Commanding the Market. I'm your host Nathan Hale, the MTG Librarian, and I am joined by none other than, you guessed it, Trent Richardson.
Hale, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing well. It has been a crazy week of spoilers for Commander Legends, and I gotta say, the hype train has left the station.
Yeah, especially after today.
Oh,
OMG.
yeah. So, for those of you who might not be aware when we're recording this happens to be a Thursday. You'll be seeing this Monday, so a few days later. And today we had spoiled Jeweled Lotus.
They did it. They freaking did it.
They did it. We haven't seen a zero cost tap sat for 3 mana since Mox Diamond in Mirage. Mox Diamond. Since Lion's Eye Diamond in Mirage.
Yeah.
And they did it.
Yeah.
This card, in case you're not aware, I'll have it on the screen here, but all the same, it's an artifact, costs 0 to play. Tap, sacrifice it, add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool. Use this mana only to cast your commander. So pretty strong limitation. The safety net here is this can't really see play anywhere outside of commander. Much like Arcane Signet, it would do nothing. Arcane Signet was arguably a super powerful staple rock when they made it, but they were able to make something super powerful for EDH that didn't warp any other format and didn't really warp EDH because, I mean, you have this uncommon rock that while it was expensive at first, they've been reprinting the hell out of it. And now there's a mythic that will be almost as much a staple as Arcane Signet. It doesn't necessarily slot into every deck. It could and wouldn't be bad. It's just some decks will arguably be much better with it than others. Particularly 3 color or less if the commander already has some colorless cost in their mana cost. But this is mythic. This card is gonna be expensive and gonna stay expensive for a while until should they reprint it multiple more times. And you got to realize Arcane Signet I think is still sitting at like $6 or $7. Right. This card has been reprinted in all the Brawl decks, all the Commander decks this year. That's 7 different decks. It's also in Commander Legends as an uncommon, and it's still sitting at a $7 mark. So just think about that compared to, and that's an uncommon / common. I think it was considered common in the Brawl decks. I don't remember the exact, but more or less
common. Yeah.
Yeah. Now compare that with all its printings to a mythic printed in just one set. If they don't reprint this thing in like every commander deck for the foreseeable future, this card will be $100+ for a while. They'd have to do a promo where it'd be like, buy a booster pack, get 5 Lotuses for that card to crash. So we're looking at a new staple, and it's going to be real pricey. So obviously, first off, I'm going to say at this point, it's going for around 200 right now on eBay. The places that have listed it already. I wouldn't do it. Like, while I expect this card to be expensive and stay expensive, I don't think I would buy into it pre-release. Because I expect it to drop a little after release, not a lot. But, that depends on how high that ceiling goes. But I expect some drop, but I don't expect it to drop for long.
It's still not as good as Soul Ring. It's still not as good as Mana Crypt.
Yeah.
So while I'm super stoked about it, and I'm gonna catch some hate on that because I know there's some people out there that just live to hate. They live to hate on these powerful power creep and Magic. But come on, guys, you didn't start playing Magic because somebody was like, hey, I'm gonna attack you for 1 with my Llanowar Elf.
No, Llanowar Elf's a good card. Let's try Mesa Pegasus, and I'm gonna band with this Gray Ogre.
You didn't keep playing because you could attack for 1 with Llanowar Elf. You kept playing because you could tap it for a green mana and play something bigger
Yeah.
and badder and nastier, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, quit crying to your aunties and your uncles.
And, you know, WotC has had dictated to them by Hasbro, their parent company, that they've got to double their profits in the next 5 years. So, in short, get used to this. This power creep's going to keep happening. They'd rather print powerful cards and have them banned, because what they've learned is with Field of Dead, with Oko, they can ban these cards and their price is still going to it's if it even drops much, it's going to rebound really quickly. Oko's a near $20 card now for just a regular Oko. Field of the Dead is nearing $20. Because they figured out, that's why this is the year of Commander, they figured out what's driving the market and driving players to the game. And if they got to warp a format or ban a card from a format, they're like, fine, so be it. If the Commander players like it, here it is. Oko, yeah. I love. I only have 2 Okos, but I run both Okos in EDH decks because he's super powerful in EDH. His plus ability says I nerf your commander, and no, it's not going to the command zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. I have a playset of Okos. Same for me. Every deck he can be in, he's in.
Yeah,
and unapologetically too, because I mean, deal with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's Commander. You can have literally almost any card in Magic's history in your deck. Yeah. You can deal with it. You know?
Yeah.
So
you know, another. Now, before we get into this next card, I do want to give a shout out actually to one of our viewers, Lee Foster. So, Lee, this is for you, man. Had a conversation with him in the comments back and forth, and apparently he took our advice on Balagad Recovery. He decided to go with the foil route, so picked up a bunch of foils on the cheap of Balagad Recovery. He's already flipped them for, I think, 4 times what he bought them for. So
good for you, Lee.
Very good. Thank you for listening and watching, and more importantly, paying attention that, yes, there is something to be gathered out of this. And if you're quick to move on the market, you can make some good money. Now, I'm waiting to hear back from him because I reached out to him same day as a card we're about to talk about caused a huge spike. And I suggested to him to look at 1 or 2 other cards that around this card could foreseeably see a spike. And one of them definitely did. We're going to be talking about it in a bit. Now, I want to point out that when I put that card on this spec list, its price was just over $3. By the end of the day, because I put this on the list that same day, it had quadrupled in price. But we're going to talk about it. I got the more or less accurate prices. It's dropped a little, but we'll get there. Without further ado, though, we're going to talk about another card from Commander Legends that has been commanding the market.
Big time.
And that, why don't you tell them about it?
Well, this is my new favorite agent. Not of treachery.
Yeah, move over State Farm.
Yeah, move over Oppression Agent. And if you guys haven't heard of it by now, which, I mean, you got to be living under a rock if you haven't, because it's, I mean,
yeah,
the toast of the town. Well, it was before today, before the Lotus came out.
Yeah.
Anyway, Oppression Agent's 2 and a black for a human rogue, 3/2 with flash. You control your opponents while they're searching their libraries.
Ooh.
Crazy. Secondly,
there's more.
That's not it. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast them. So basically, it's just saying, like, hey, you get to, if your opponent searches his library for something or her library for something, you get to instead. And it doesn't go into your hand. It exiles so they can't potentially like bounce it back to their own hand, then you get to play it with any color mana. I mean,
So it's like Gonti, but instead of
this
going
is play.
Yeah.
This is
so
play.
lands too.
Yeah.
So this is
So,
like Gonti, except instead of 4 deep, you just get to search the entire library. This card's ridiculous. And now, like, odds are it'll only be a gotcha once, as in you'll play it in response to them tutoring, cracking a fetch, whatever it is, and you'll steal that card from them. After that, it basically just becomes a hate bear that says, no tutors for you guys. Now, this particular card immediately caused a reaction in the market towards another card. And this card happens to come from a set that was severely under-opened. It came during a recession in the game where just not that much of the product was open. And that is a card from Morningtide called Marilyn of the Morn Song. And she is a legendary elf wizard for 2 black and a colorless, a 2/3 body. And simply, players can't draw cards. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player loses 3 life, searches his or her library for a card, puts it into his or her hand, then shuffles his or her library. So if she's in play and you bring out Opposition Agent, your opponents have very few ways to get cards in their hands. There are ways around it. There's Scroll Rack actually would work because it's not a draw. If they have a tutor in hand, that wouldn't work. But if they have something like an exile effect from a red card, like that red-green one, Escape to the Wilds, or an exile.
Let at the stage.
Yeah. Let the stage. That sort of thing. There are workarounds, but for the most part, this is a pretty solid lock with these 2 cards in play. Now, one card we're going to talk about today, which we'll get to, is one that works particularly well specifically in Maryland, even without Opposition Agent. But if you have Opposition Agent also in play when you play this card, you're 99.9% guaranteed to win. They'd have to have a card in play that would get around Maryland Opposition Agent to be able to get around this. And that is actually why I put that card on the list. That and a few other reasons it's been jumping for a while. But you know what? Let's start talking about some of the cards that synergize with Maryland and Opposition Agent. Now, this first one in particular goes really well with Opposition Agent.
So we're going to talk about the pricing of Maryland.
Oh, yes. Yeah. What am I forgetting? So, tell us about it.
So Maryland, overnight, when Opposition Agent was spoiled, and I've got more thoughts on this that I probably won't get into here, but we'll just say a couple of days before it was spoiled, the price started ticking up on Maryland Morn Song. And as soon as it was spoiled, overnight, jumped 500%. It was around $7.
Yeah.
And then the next day it was 40. So, you actually had texted me that morning and said, hey, you need to jump on this guy as soon as you can. Here's what's going on with it. And I looked and I was like, holy crap.
So with that, like, I managed to pick up a couple copies. I had FOMO partly because when I saw Opposition Agent, I was like, oh God. When I saw interaction with Maryland from another friend of ours on another Discord channel had pointed out this interaction, I was like, I must build big mana black and I want to put this in. If Maryland's going to be the commander. So I went to buy one and I was like, holy crap. Like, when I got on TCG Player, there were a total of 6 cards there. A damaged, 2 moderately played, a lightly played, and a foil that was like $150. A near mint foil. I was like, okay, whoa. I looked around. I mean, I scoured the internet. You can't name a store I didn't check. I spent the next half hour just literally doing Google search, eBay, Amazon, all the major sellers. Trying all of them. They're all sold out. Then I went back to TCG Player, started hitting refresh about every 30 seconds. And eventually, 2 new listings popped up. and there was a lightly played for 27 and a near mint for 30. I immediately threw them on my cart and bought them. And no regrets, because the very next listing was lightly played at over $40. Now, it has seen more listings. Like by the end of that day, there were less than 10 listings. And all of them were, there was a couple moderately played in the $35 mark, but lightly played and up was 40 plus, and the lowest near mint was 55 plus. And there were only 2 near mint at that point.
And since we've come down from that today, we looked at it before we started the show, and we're down to about $40 for near mint copies. But you can get one lightly played, moderately played for around 30. So
yeah, lightly played was 35, but moderate around 30. Yeah,
I think the price has finally settled down. It's been a few days. News has gotten out there, and there's plenty of listings available on TCG currently.
Yeah, there's about 60 listings, I think it is.
Yeah.
So much up from what it was a couple days ago. Obviously, there was a knee-jerk reaction when people saw the price on this. They looked in their bio and said, do I have this card? They started listing. Stores with them started listing. But
yeah, Facebook groups started selling. Yeah, it's been kind of crazy on my Facebook feed the last couple days with this card.
Yeah. But that's not the only one that started going crazy.
Yeah.
So when I was putting this list together, I was kind of focusing around Opposition Agent. I saw this card and I was super stoked about it, and started thinking about cards that synergize well with them. The first one that came to mind for me was Scheming Symmetry. Recently printed from M20, this is a sorcery for a single black. Choose 2 target players. Each of them searches their library for a card, then shuffles their library and puts that card on top of it. So with the interaction with Opposition Agent, if you play this spell and say you target yourself and one opponent, you'll go through your library and put one on top. Then you'll go through their library and exile that card. It won't go to the top of library, and then you'll be able to play that later. Or if you decide to choose 2 opponents, you'll exile both those cards. So mad value for a single black mana with Opposition Agent out. This card, I looked at that time when I put it on the list. There were plenty of listings for about $3, $3.50 on TCG Player. And typically, as I'm making these lists, I'll do my research. I'll put the card down. Then I keep searching, and then when I have all the cards I plan to talk about, I go back in, I start plugging in the prices. Well, when I went back that evening to plug in the prices, it had jumped from $3.25, $3.50 to $12. It's calmed down a little since then. I'm gonna go through the prices here. This was at that time, although I'll correct for one of these. So the TCG market that night was $8.85 with a mid of $11.77. Now the mid has come down to just over $9, and the market is sitting right about $8. Card Kingdom out of stock $6.99. Star City Games out of stock $8.99. Channel Fireball at that time had 2 in stock for $8.10. I haven't checked in the last 2 days. I doubt they're there, considering the average price going on TCG Player is $8+ right now. Now at the time, TCG Near Mint bulk was as low as $6.50 at that point in that evening. And of course, like I said, in the morning, it was around the $3 mark.
Yeah. And we're still sitting at about $6.50 right now, low for TCG.
Okay. So from that night, it hasn't moved on TCG. So This is another case where a single one of these cards can affect the market rapidly. Being aware of cards as they hit and cards that can interact with them is very key. And what I wanted to kind of bring up on this, we have a Discord channel for the Librarian of Alexandria, and one of the channels on there is for MTG Finance. So the moment I saw these cards and said, hey, these cards are going to spike, I went right on MTG Finance on that channel, and I put that information there so anyone interested could jump on those. Same with Maryland. So if you're wanting to stay very much like what we're thinking the moment it happens and step to it, especially as these new sets roll out and they can cause major changes in the market. In some cases, it'll be pick this card up, it's about to spike. In some cases, it'll be sell this card now, it's about to drop. And the time we record this, it's several days before we get you the polished version of this because we want to give you a clean, nice looking production. But the market, as we talk about, it can move fast. So if you're interested, comment in this video and I will send you an invite to our Discord channel where you can follow along with what we're talking about as the market moves and stay up to date by the minute. Well, I say by the minute, more like the hour. I'm not on the thing every time or every minute. So yeah, you want to talk about this next one? Now this next one, I'm just going to mention this. This is another one I thought this could also synergize very nicely with. Although there's a large supply, but I still feel that it has plenty of room for movement.
Coming out of a set that has 6 cards banned from standard currently.
Oh my God!
Which,
6?
by the way,
hold on.
Side note.
What? Oko, Once Upon a Time. I don't pay attention to standard that much. What else is banned from it?
So Oko, Once Upon a Time, Cat, Oven.
Oh, I forgot about
that. The green red one that was just the Wilds.
Escape to the Wilds.
Yeah. And
Growth Spiral. Was it? No, Growth Spiral wasn't. That was just in the deck. That was all this was banned in.
I think that it's 5. It's 5 cards. But when was the last time 5 cards were banned from standard?
I don't even think Urza's had that many.
Well, I can tell you that Mirrodin did, but
oh yeah. I can't remember
technically
because they had Ravager just ravaged. I thought they, rather than ban, they were just like, okay, it's a busted format, so we're going to make a lower powered set after it, Kamigawa, to water down the block. But
no, they banned all the artifact lands, and
they did, didn't they?
And Disciple of the Vault. So yeah, there was that was technically like 5-6 cards that were banned from standard in that set. But yeah,
the artifact lands were ridiculous with Affinity. What a busted set. Anyway, needless to say, you got to go back a long time to top the bannings from just this one set, and that's not even talking about everything else in standard that's currently banned. Also,
yeah, exactly. So this card here we're going to talk about is Wishclaw Talisman from Throne of Eldraine. It's a black artifact, so it costs colorless and a black mana to cast. When Wishclaw Talisman enters the battlefield with 3 wish counters on it, you pay a single colorless and tap it, remove a wish counter, and search your library for a card. Put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. An opponent gains control of Wishclaw Talisman. Activate this ability only during your turn. So basically, you pay 1, tap it, search your library for a card, and then move it over to somebody else. And then they get to use it, and then they send it to someone else, and someone else gets to use it. So with Oppression Agent, that means that you're searching for 3 cards, or you're just searching for 1, and your Wishclaw Talisman is not being used.
Yep.
So not as good as Scheming Symmetry,
no,
by any means, but it basically gets around the drawback of Wishclaw Talisman as long as you have Oppression Agent on the field. So still very good. It's basically a 3 mana tutor, essentially.
I also want to point out that Oppression Agent is, among other things, a rogue. Anawan's a rogue, who also happens to be in blue, and blue happens to be really good at 2 particular things. Bouncing things and recurring things from the graveyard, like artifacts.
And stealing things.
So even if you don't have Oppression Agent, this card can still get abused in the color pairing with Anawan. Now, all that aside, just the value from Oppression Agent can make Wish Claw Talisman very, very strong. And there's nothing saying you can't just sack your own Wish Claw as you use it with something like Closet Gix or any sack KCI and the like. There's plenty of ways to get around that. But just the interaction with Oppression Agent, I think, is strong enough to run this card. And the other thing people don't think about is, okay, I'm gonna tutor. I'm gonna pass it. You're gonna go to activate it. I'm gonna flash in Oppression Agent. Oh, they didn't see that coming. So now you got 2 tutors out of it. In worst case scenario, somebody else gets 1 tutor to your 2. And generally speaking, if you can't win the game after 2 tutors, rebuild your deck. There's something wrong.
Or get a new play group.
Yeah, because you're playing with way overpower at that point. What's the market like on this card currently?
So TCG market is sitting at 87 cents with a mid of 94 cents. And we always talk about it. That's a good indicator. When we're about a 10, it's only 10 cents, but when we're under $1, that's 10%.
Oh, so I think I might have that reversed. I think that, give me a moment. I think I wrote that down wrong. I think the market was over the mid. But go ahead. I'll verify.
And in any case, when we see that happen, if it's a 10% difference in the mid and the market, that means it is on the move. And that's a good indicator that it's a good pickup for speculation. Card Kingdom has them for $1.29. They only have 3 in stock. Star City Games is out of stock at 75 cents. And Channel Fireball, who knows all, has them for $1.50, 8 in stock. TCG near mint bulk as low as 95 cents. So, when you got near mint bulk low at 95 cents, the mid is at 94, and then the market is lower. That's definitely, it's a strong buy. I don't know that the potential of this card is the same as Scheming Symmetry.
Oh no, I don't see this thing being more than a $3 or $4 card on the best side. But
$3 or $4 easily. But that's still, if you buy it in $1 and they come out at $4, that's still 400% profit. So,
and this card in the last 5 months has gained 20%. It's gained 20% in the last 5 months. So it's been a steady climb up. It's not really dipped any. That's always a good indication. Also, that a card is becoming more popular. I don't think it sees any standard play. I'd be surprised. I don't think it sees anywhere much play outside of Commander. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't really follow the other formats.
It doesn't.
Well, actually, I'm looking here. Like one Legacy deck plays it, and the rest is Commander. Actually, a Sultai Control deck apparently ran it recently, but it's pretty much just Commander.
Yeah.
So another deck I've actually thought about running this particular card in is my Loris deck, just because I love running that in Muldrotha. In fact, I think it might actually be in my Muldrotha because I have multiple ways to remove my own permanents in Muldrotha because Exile hurts me. So that's another thing, is just having that tutor out there and then be able to sack it with the ability on the stack, so only you're getting that. And of course, recurring it with Muldrotha means that basically a turn or two later you win the game because, well, as before mentioned, you've tutored twice, you should win.
Yep. Sacking on the stack or bouncing it back to your hand on the stack is super clutch for that card. And it's super easy to do too. There's so many ways of interaction that are cheap and you can do in one turn. It's not crazy. It's not a crazy idea. It's not unattainable for sure. So the next one we got here is our uncommonly good spec, and man, this is the cut right here. Yeah, this is a super cut right here. I love this card. When I saw it on your list, I'm like, man, this is dope. Yeah. So we've got Dark Deal to sorcery for 2 and a black. Each player discards all the cards in his or her hand, then draws that many cards -1. So we got a black wheel effect.
Which wheel decks are, of course, very popular right now.
It's played in over 6,000 decks, and its only printing is in Fate Reforged. Um, this is a fantastic card, and I don't know. I'm not even aware of its existence before you mentioned it here. But this is very good. Like, this is an 8 uncommon in Commander for sure. A black uncommon.
A black wheel. And
this should be in every black deck, right?
Just about. Just being able to flush people's hands. Now, sometimes it's going to be to their benefit, but then again, we did mention a specific commander at the top of the show, didn't we?
I think so.
I think that was Marilyn of the Morn Song.
Yeah.
So this card becomes Marilyn's in play. Nobody's drawing anymore. They have to tutor when they, once a turn is all they get. I play Dark. You then followed up with Dark Deal. Flush their hands. Now they have no assets to work with other than what's in the table. And if you have opposition agent in play, it's pretty much game over.
Mm-hmm. And God forbid you got Lightning Greaves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't even at that point, unless they have something in play that can destroy it. You don't even need Greaves.
Well, simply because they have something in their hand.
No, what I'm saying is, you play Dark Deal, they have nothing in their hand. I mean, if the Dark Deal resolves and they couldn't respond then, they'll never have a chance to respond to that, and it's a lock.
Mm-hmm.
So, considering how Marlin moved and the interest around opposition thief or agent, this card just seemed like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
The market price is over the mid. They're actually within 5 cents each other. $1.34 market, mid $1.29. Card Kingdom only has 3 in stock at $1.29. Star City Games had it 75 cents. Totally sold out. Channel Fireball, $1.50 with 8 in stock. Now, TCG Near Mint Bulk is as low as $1.49. So they're right there with Channel Fireball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this card, I've noticed, has had a steady increase over the last couple years. Like, it was a 50-cent card for a while, and it's been jumping up since. Now, it's strong already in decks like Sir Conrad, Nekusar, Anye Falconwrath. But yeah, I think the new addition of Opposition Agent and people's interest in building around Marilyn is going to drive people towards this card. Yeah. But I don't think they're there yet because they haven't started building yet. They haven't started fleshing out or thinking beyond the, okay, Opposition Agent, I definitely want to run that. And anything around tutoring I want to run. But they haven't thought about how to close out the game and make sure that when you play that combo, it's done. And this is the deal breaker.
And even in Anawan, blue-black, Narset,
Yeah.
It just, like I said, it seemed, even if you're not running any of those cards in black, why hasn't this been played in black decks?
Yeah, it's currently played, 6,000 decks? A little over.
That seems super low to me. But, maybe it's the draw that many cards -1. I don't know why. I don't understand it, because this, to me, looks like a black Wheel of Fortune, and you draw one less card. What?
Yeah.
So
another card I didn't put on the list. I considered, but it's already in a bit of a higher price range, and it's a solid commander card to begin with, anyway. But it also works well in Marlin and would work well with any deck running Opposition Agent, I'm sure, just because it's a good card all around. Is Necropotence. Necropotence is one of those that can actually get around Maryland, so you could actually still feel your hand as an option there. But I didn't feel the synergy was quite strong enough to bother putting it on, because it doesn't synergize quite as well. Well, really, like I said, more the cost, and it's already such a staple of EDH.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, for sure.
So speaking of staples of EDH, this one's one I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I bought quite a few and it was cheaper. I didn't buy enough because I run a lot of aristocrat decks. So I'm going to point it out now because it's still a fairly affordable card that has only seen one printing. And that card is Yahini Undying Artisan. It's played in nearly 11,000 decks in EDH. Now, the TCG market, actually, let me tell you about the card first. It is 2 and a black for an legendary Aetherborn Vampire, a 2/2 with haste. And whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Yahini Undying Partisan. Okay, seems decent. But the real thing about it is, his final ability is sacrifice another creature, Yahini gains indestructible until end of turn. So he is a 3-drop free sack outlet. Very strong. Particularly because it protects itself. Because most people know the biggest problem with a sack outlet is it becomes a free sack outlet. It is an instant target for removal. Because everyone goes, we've got to get rid of that. Now, while this doesn't allow you to go crazy infinite mana loops or recurring from the yard of, via Phyrexian altars and Gravecrawler or whatever have you, it does still give you that free sack outlet, which is, I'd say, about 75% of the time, all you actually need is something that will, for free, allow you to sacrifice to create these loops. And TCG market right now has this at $550 with a mid of $480. So nice spread there. Card Kingdom. These prices are wrong. Here. I'm sorry. No, this is wrong. I think this is wrong. I guarantee this is wrong.
Let me check.
Because there's no way.
Because this is spicy. If this
is correct, guys, it's wrong. Because I copied this over from another one and I put the wrong prices in. I apologize, everybody. I was really excited when I wrote this and really tired.
Okay, yeah, it's wrong.
Yeah.
Channel Fireball, $7.70, 8 in stock. Let's see here. Card
$7.70. Wow. I'm pretty sure the TCG price is right. I'll look that up.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Card Kingdom, $6.99, 8 in stock. And Star City Games. Star City Games is $349, 0 in stock.
However, on TCG in bulk, you can pick them up for $349 currently. So that is a nice difference between the market price of $550, the mid of $480. Actually, the mid, I'm at it now, of $5. For what is, in my opinion, a staple black sack outlet.
For sure.
Now, this card has jumped more than $1.70 since May, and it's still climbing. And obviously, with all the new aristocrat-themed cards that have been coming out, such as from the It Shall Not Be Named Negan of the Walking Dead Secret Lairs and many others, having a sack outlet is very, very strong and very important, especially one that can protect itself and actually be a real threat later as the game continues.
For sure. Absolutely. Yahini, I've liked Yahini since it came out. It's a super good sack outlet. I mean, it pairs well with just, all the aristocrat stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Even as your commander being able to protect itself, pretty darn good. You can build around this without going aristocrat way, but
because if as your commander you just play a board wipe, all the creatures die. Now you swing in with a massive Yahini. And he's got haste, so even if you got to cast him the same turn that you did your board wipe, as long as you did it before the wipe, you're hitting hard at somebody.
It's still a good card. And guys, Channel Fireball's selling them for $8 a piece, so jump on it.
Think about that.
That's
$8 right now at Channel Fireball. You could probably, I didn't check their buy price, but there might even be a chance for arbitrage there if you're able to pick these up for $3.49. Possibly get at least higher than that on trade-in. If you want to turn that money into a higher amount of money in trade at CFB. I'm not sure what their buy is right now, though.
I don't either. You have to have like an account or something to log in with to see it.
Anyway, with a spread of over $4, with a more than double up in difference in price, it's definitely worth picking up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of selling, we did promise we'd talk a little bit about selling. And one thing, there's another reprint in black. We're staying in a theme today, people. In black.
We're getting out of it. I got one that's not.
Okay. We know of another reprint, and we called it. Vamp Tutored see a reprint. We called it, and sure enough, it is getting a reprint in Commander Legends. I am so happy about that.
Oh, me too.
But you know what that means?
It means price going down.
If you got it, you want to get rid of it. Any of your older copies, those prices are going to be going down and going down fast. I expect this card to at least go back to where it was at the start of the year, which is around the 60-70 mark, but I would not be surprised if this comes down to as low as $50. It will go back up eventually, but...
Yeah. I believe it will come down to about the $50-$55 mark for... the previous printings, especially the Eternal Masters version. I think that's the one that a lot of people kind of gauge pricing on right now. That one definitely will come down to about the $55 mark, but those older original versions, will.
I love the art on the original Visions one.
It's great.
It just sings to me,
Honestly, the art on the new ones are super cool too.
They're not bad.
It's just one of the few. It's one of the few arts that they're recreating from older cards that were already pretty demonic in nature, and they kept it demonic. It was really, it's kind of dumbed down a little bit, but
I miss
still
the
really cool.
vampiric side of it, because I always liked how you have the vampire of the shoulder, the other guy making suggestions, like he's tutoring and teaching him, and he's like, I don't know, but he's paying a price for it in blood. I just always really loved the flavor on that card. Had a kind of iron taste to it.
Yeah. It tasted like rust or something.
So definitely, if you're sitting on these, you may consider selling. If you're sitting on these for with the intention for investment, you may want to part with these on the quicker before the price goes down too much.
For sure. So what else we got here?
Excuse me. Tell me about some of yours out here. I don't know about this.
Another one to get off the ship on is Skyclave Apparition. Just came out in Zendikar Rising. It's 1/2 white for a spirit. I'll have to pull up the card because I don't have it handy currently.
Exile a permanent CMC 4 or greater, then they create or is it less? I thought it was more.
Yeah, it's 4 or less.
Okay, and then they create a XX token of some type equal to the CMC of the card that was exiled.
When Skyclave Apparition leaves the battlefield.
Yeah. Of course, it's also abusable because it's separated into 2 separate paragraphs, which means flicker effects can be used to where, you can get the first effect, flicker it, and then they don't get the token for what it is or isn't worth.
Right. Which is super good. So the reason I say it's a sell on this card is because it's up to about $9 right now, maybe $8.50. Most of that is from standard. Some of it from modern, but a lot of it is from standard hype. So part ways with this guy. I've opened maybe a box and a half worth of Zendikar Rising. I've probably got like 8 of them. It's not an uncommon rare in my opinion at this point. So yeah, get rid of your Skyclave apparitions, because those guys are, while they are a fantastic card, I think we've hit our peak at about $9. They came down yesterday about 5%. They were at 9, now they're at like 850. So they come down about 5% overnight. And when I see that trend kind of happening, it's time to unload the bus.
Yeah.
So take it for what you will.
So speaking of unloading the bus, I'd mentioned on our last episode that I would be listing some cards to sell on my TCG store, Bala Good Recovery, because I have a pretty strong position on that. So I want to just get back what I put into it, and then keep all the rest and let it accrue value. So I listed it, and I kind of put off listing until Sunday night, like I was editing the previous episode, and then I was like, oh god, I did say I was going to do that, didn't I? So I listed it that night. It took I was hoping to sell quicker, but it took about 48 hours to sell, and I only sold a playset at this point. But at my price, I decided I wasn't going to be the lowest on the totem pole, but I was going to have the best bulk offer. Surprisingly, somebody didn't go bulk. They just wanted a playset from me, which was still a fairly good price. I think I had them at like $1.50. So sold a playset, and after shipping, got $7 for them. The one thing caveat I want to point out to people who are using TCG Player to sell: until you've sold 100, not items, not individual items, this would count as one sale. Until you've had 100 sales, your level won't be high enough to be able to have alternate shipping methods, which is important to note, because I have to list at 99-cent shipping. What I want to list at, because I want to do bulk sales, is 78-cent shipping, free shipping after $5. Because I want to sell these in bulk. Whatever I sell, I want to try and sell in bulk. If it's a bigger card item, I might go with the $35 free shipping, but probably not, because at a certain point, I don't care. The shipping's not that expensive, except on a really pricey card. But if they're paying a lot for it, I'll fork out the few bucks for the tracking.
Right.
So until you hit that mark, you've got to realize that you're probably going to fall further down in the listings than some of the bigger players on TCG. So if you're using TCG, be aware that early on you may take some hits in sales. I haven't actually taken any hits in sales yet. The other cards I sold, the foil and non-foils of the Sharknado, Shark Typhoon, I didn't have to take a hit on those, nor on the Balaguettes, because my increase there was about 125% on the actually no, it was 200% on the Sharknadoes, and this is 600%. So I bought it 25 cents, sold it $1.50, so a 600% markup on these essentially. So basically, if I sell another 8 copies, I'll have made back everything I spent on the 80 copies. So yeah, when we're talking about selling, like it can be annoying. Like I want to sell in bulk and be done with it. I want to sell just 20 straight up to somebody. I made my bulk listing very appealing, and surprisingly they didn't. I realized that's because other people have the lower shipping number. They're charging more, but even though my price is lower in bulk, people will still go with the other one. Regardless, once you hit that tier, that level, after having 100 sales, things will ease up on trying to sell, because you'll be able to offer that really incentivized 78-cent shipping with free shipping after $5, and then you'll really move to the top of that tier on selling bulk, which is really where you want to be at when you're doing this. You want to be able to make listings in bulk, or else you want to be selling cards in not quantity but quality, is in cost, like your $5, $10, $20 cards, because you know it took me 20 minutes to put the cards together, get them in an envelope, print out the slip, mail it, and post office is half a mile away, and get it in the post office. So it took me about 20 minutes to do all this, but 20 minutes of my time is not really worth $7. It's worth more than that. which is why you want to move eventually into that bulk range or the higher tier. Granted, I don't really care because I have a passion for the game. If I sell another 2 play sets, and I'll make back what I spent, and I'll still have 60 Bala Geds more than to show for it. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Sounds good to me. I mean, and plus, you got to build up your street cred on that TCG, on them TCG streets.
Yep.
So
actually,
this is a great way to do it on stuff like this, guys. Hill is, I mean, walking a great line for everybody here. He bought 80 Bala Geds at 25 cents a piece, and that's a great way to start doing bulk sells on anywhere, whether it be TCG or marketplace or wherever. Buying in low, it's not like you're investing a ton of money here. I mean, we're talking like one date night out,
not even. It was like $20 for all those cards.
Yeah.
And the return on investment, potential return on investment is huge. And when you see a card like that, like I saw with Sharknado also, they were no-brainers to me. It was like, oh, this card exists. Pull out wallet, spend money. This I'm going to flip. And I am. Now, the Bala Geds are going to take me a little longer because they're a lower price point card, where with the... not take me longer. Well, it will take me longer because I didn't have 80 Sharknadoes. But the cost to enter into Bala Ged investing was much lower than the Sharknado.
Sure. So one other thing I wanted to talk about, and this will probably be the last of it before we sign off here, but we did have somebody in our Discord asking the other day what we thought about buy listing. So my thoughts, and I never got to hear your thoughts. You never responded, but
you answered it pretty well. Though I have a little to add in.
Yeah. So essentially, my thoughts are, I never buy list. My thoughts on buy listing is, I'm the shark. I want to be the shark in the water. I want to be the one buying your cards at the buy list price. I don't want to be the one selling my cards at the buy list price. I want to be buying them at the buy list price. So I don't ever do that unless there's super rare instances where the market price is lower than the buy list price, which has only ever happened to me one time, and I jumped on it and did it.
Yeah, that chance for arbitrage. Immediately buy and sell.
Yeah, so I did that at a local game store one time. But other than that, I don't touch buy listing because, like I said, I want to be the one holding the big bag of money rather than the smaller bag of money, Secondly, there are way too many other options for selling your cards. Granted, you need patience to do so. But there's, with Facebook Marketplace, with
TCG,
eBay, just Facebook groups that are available out there for buy, sell, trade.
Discord, there's groups on Discord as well.
Discord, your play group. People in your play group, maybe just put a feeler out. Hey, anybody?
By the way, want to shout out to Jeff who wants to buy some of my Bala Ged recoveries. Although he'll be getting a big discount because he gets a great price.
Yeah, and even so. Yeah, you can do that, but still you're making more than the buy list would be because buy list, nobody's buying the Bala Geds right now for a quarter.
No, if I were to buy list these, it would take me, and I'm not going to say I'm not ruling out, but it would be I'm not selling them for several years. And then the say this has a movement like Eternal Witness. Say it dodges reprint for a couple of years. It moves up like Eternal Witness, which I think is very viable for this card. And then when they're sitting at the $3 to $5 mark and they're like, okay, we're going to offer, $1.50 for these cards on buy lists. Okay, sure. I don't have to think about it. I'm still sitting on 40, 50 of them. Fine. I don't have to think about it anymore. I've already made my money back on it.
Yeah.
But I tend to agree. That's not the first place I want to look.
Sure.
Buy list. To comb through and find the chances for arbitrage between one site and another, It takes time. What we do, what we do, just getting this together week to week to find what's moving and what's worth moving on based off of trends in the game. It takes time. It takes hours of our life. Wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love it. Straight up.
And quite honestly, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I did literally nothing for this episode. So everything you see here is all hell today. Well, but that's because I just didn't have the time to do anything, you know.
One of your cell specs was you, the Skyclave.
Yeah, the Skyclave apparition. But other than that, you know, I've been able to keep up with some things this week and look at things, but to really get down in the trenches with anything, I just haven't had a chance to do because it does take time, you know. Some of which I just haven't had this week, unfortunately. And I'm sorry, hell, I've done that to you a couple times, but you know,
it's all good. This week, man, like I didn't mind. Like this week, guys, let me tell you, Monday and Tuesday of this week, which would be, of course, for you when you're watching this, likely last week, when they spoiled Opposition Agent, I had not been this excited for a Magic card in a long time. Simply because I was like, I want to build around this. I want to build this into a deck. And of course, it's not exactly a build around because it's not a commander. But then shout out to Tam, another friend on Discord. I think he watches as well. I'm not sure. Either way, if he's watching, Tam, shout out to you. You pointed out the interaction with Marilyn, and I was like, I'm in love. I'm building this. I will be the person everyone hates at the table. And I'm fine with that.
I mean, they already do anyway. Might as well.
Maybe. Not always. Oh, God. I even get hated on when I build a battle cruiser deck and it wins. It's like,
it happened. I was there.
It did.
Anyway, we never did get to your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the buy list? I mean,
well, yeah, basically what I said is generally speaking, with the amounts investing that I do, I'm buying to individual sell, or I'm buying to hold and sell because I think it'll be a long-term investment. I don't want to move buy lists. I'll move buy lists, like I said, on something where I've gone heavy investment in quantity on, and I want to move fast, like the Bala Good recoveries. But right now, I have no reason to sell fast on those. In fact, right now, I'm just wanting to recoup the initial investment, which won't take much more. And then after that, I'm fine with sitting on for a while and watching the card grow. I kind of want to see where it's at in 2 years, 3 years. Because, like I said, if it goes the way of Eternal Witness without a reprint, we're going to have easily a $5 Bala Good recovery. It's already seen a high of 232. And that wasn't the pre-order price. The pre-order price was $2. It actually hit 232 organically about a week ago. Yeah, it's actually dropped down a bit since, but
and I think that line of thought with the buy list comes from a little bit of having been around the block a time or two, a little bit of maturity, and having sold collections of our own in a past life once or twice, and learning from our mistakes and knowing that well, you just shouldn't do that. Just don't do it. And times get hairy, guys. Life gets strange. Maybe talk to a buddy and see if, like, hey, will you like buy my cards from me with the caveat that I'd be allowed to buy them back at some point in time? You know, because once you sell to that shop, they are dirty dealers, my man, and they are not giving you. I mean,
you're not getting anywhere near your worth. You're lucky, typically at 10% your worth.
Yeah, usually. Well, they've gotten better. 30% is about where you see it nowadays.
In your online, your CFB, your Star City, but cash
even local. Yeah. Locals tend to do about 30%. Just like a pawn shop would, 33% is typically what you're going to get because they need to make their margins when they resell it, which is understandable for them. But, times get tough. Try and do anything you can to avoid it, though.
Don't make this, especially, I'm just going to say this straight up. If it is a reserve list card, don't you dare sell it to anyone but me. Because you will have the regrets, man. The regrets. I won't go into it, but I had a lot of reserve list cards and power, and just one piece of power now. And I bought that 2 years ago. No, a year and a half ago, because I was like, you know what? They're getting up there. Soon I won't be able to get any, so I'm going to get at least one. And you know what I will never do? Sell it. I'll frame it and stick it on the wall before I'll sell it.
Yeah.
Even if that wall's a cardboard box on the side of the road, man. But I am not making that mistake again. Well, everyone.
Well, it's been real.
Yes, it has.
And, I'm glad we got to talk about Opposition Agent. I'm glad we got to talk about the Lotus today. Commander Legends, guys, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be super exciting. I'm definitely going to grab a couple boxes because although we can't draft in person, it's going to be super fun to draft.
Yeah, I'm really curious how the draft's going to go on this.
Yeah.
And don't you draft two cards because there's a partner thing? No, I can't remember. There's an alternate rule.
I haven't looked at how to do it yet. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but
either way, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be super cool. So these reprints, these new cards have all just been super pushed for Commander, and man, Commander's going to get a lot more fun. So all you haters out there saying that things are going to warp the format or whatever, I'm sorry, guys, but you can't warp. You're not going to warp a format with 100-card singleton decks when nearly every card in Magic's history is legal. It's just nearly impossible.
And for those arguing that this will be cost prohibitive for a lot of people, something like the Jeweled Amulet or even Opposition Agent, which is currently at, what'd you say, $56 for listings on a rare from this set, that can't hold. As good as that card is, that can't hold. But this is a format where people are running, Gaia's Cradle. They're running Time Twister if they have it. They're running Tabernacle, Mishra's Factory. I'm sorry, Workshop. There's expensive cards in this format that do see play.
And this is going to be one of the rare times in which cracking packs is going to be wildly worth it, because nearly every card, even down to the commons, are built for Commander decks. So
we have a $200 reprint at Uncommon in 3 visits.
Now that's
because it was Portal Kingdom. However, I want to point out that there's a similar card called Nature's Lore, which is about a $4 to $5 card that has been printed roughly 7 times, I believe. It is still a roughly $5 card that is essentially the exact same. Search for a forest, put it into play for 2 mana. So this card is yet another one of those you can run. Very strong, not basic forest, so you can get duels and the like. So I would not be surprised if this common, maybe not immediately, but within a year or two, settles in around that actually probably more like $10 mark, because this is the only other printing besides Portal, unless they print the hell out of it.
Well, they're gonna take license to print the hell out of it now.
Probably.
They just will. They're probably more likely to print this than Nature's Lore, just because they've printed Nature's Lore so often. They can now start using their equity out of this card. So I see that happening. But I mean, sky's the limit for value here. Even
Arcane
if
Signet.
it's just
Arcane Signet's reprinting this. Arcane Signet's going up. It went up this week.
Yeah,
and that's people
Arcane
know
Signet in regular boosters, in regular booster packs. You can get Arcane Signet finally.
At Uncommon, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, so hey, good luck to you guys. I know you guys are going to be all over this product. Everybody is. I'm super excited for it. Hale's super excited for it.
I can't wait to see the new decks people come up with.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun for sure. Yeah, there's going to be tons of new commanders, tons of new decks, tons of new builds, tons of new ads.
And everyone obviously work on your pirate voice. Arr, matey, because there'd be pirates in this year's set.
Arr, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well,
anyhow,
everyone, we appreciate you watching. We like your comments. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. Let us know below in the comments if you're interested in more up to the minute or hour, as it were, updates on what to move on via our Discord channel. I will send you an invite. Share this, but not just with anyone. Well, yeah, share it with anyone, but also share it with
your aunties, your uncles, your mommies, your daddies, your brothers, your cousins, your sisters, your twice removed nephew who is now in jail for speeding too many times in a school zone and hit 38 kids last summer, even though it was summer school, and they probably deserve to get hit anyway because they shouldn't have been in summer school. But he's like, whatever, I'll go to jail. Doyle, stop it, guy. You need to get off the road. Share it with him too.
Gave him a license.
I don't know. But anyway, share it, guys. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much, and keep commanding the market.
Peace.